Hey, first ever live stream of Takedown, the hot take show that Paul and I do, where we're not down the middle. We're picking a top. We're talking about something, and we're making our opinion very known on the topic. And the reason why we're actually doing the live stream is I usually do my San Francisco Giants podcast, which is why I'm wearing the hat. But my podcast partner, he is out of town. He is in Oklahoma as his daughter is she actually took a year off. She's supposed to be a freshman in college. She wanted to take a year off, kind of get some finances in order, and then wants to go back to college. Now we know sometimes how that works or doesn't work, but to move from Nevada, Reno to Oklahoma, maybe she's a Jim Ross fan or something. But so that's why we're doing this here. Normally we just kind of pre-record it and then put it up as audio and video later, but we're live here and we have some questions. I know I threw some stuff in our Discord for people who may have some opinions. We're going to talk about three big things, and I kind of feel bad because I told you my idea for this show, but I also said, hey, if we don't do it, we'll skip it. We'll come back next week. I hope you didn't feel pressured to watch 5 hours and 40 minutes of AEW Forbidden Door today.
Well, the funny thing is when you said that, I kind of, in my mind, I kind of decided, okay, we're probably not doing the show. So then even on the Dynamite show, I said, oh, I don't think we're going to be doing a show this week. And so then, and then it was like, and I had so much stuff to watch like a week ago. And then for whatever reason, I just managed to get a lot of it watched. So today, like, I had one show I would have watched before Forbidden Door, but I decided, okay, I'll just watch Forbidden Door first. And and I haven't watched Heat Wave yet. So, but yeah, so I watched, and it was 5.5 hours. Now you can get through it. It's not like WWE where you can skip like half of it. Like, you kind of got to watch most of it. But I think I got through it in about a little over 4 hours. And I didn't watch most of the main event. Like, I just watched the beginning of it, and then I skipped ahead to the main event angle. So I'll go back and watch the rest of the match later. But I did see everything else.
And the reason why why I wanted Paul to have some knowledge of this show is because our number one topic on today's Takedown is based on 3.5 weeks from now, or I guess it truly has to be 4 weeks because I think it's Saturday pay-per-view. So 3.5 weeks. The big showdown, WWE's Wrestlepalooza against AEW All Out. And I actually asked Dave this question. This was a couple weeks ago. And I said, okay, now that Tony Khan knows that they're going head to head against him with their A show, does Tony Khan maybe pivot on things that he was saving and treat this like a top show, a main show, a big time show? And he said, Dave said yes. He's like, absolutely, he should, if he feels the need to, make the show bigger or more important or whatever. And as we now know, WWE is starting on ESPN essentially with Wrestlepalooza, and they're going to be on ESPN for the next 5 years or so. So that kickstarts this relationship with ESPN. So I'm going to guess, now I don't know, I'm going to guess WWE is going to get a full court press from ESPN on this show. So if we are going to sit in the chair, in the booking chair of Tony Khan, and try and come up with some major matches that he could use to compete against WWE's show. Now, the only show we know for sure about Wrestlepalooza is Cena and Lesnar. I'm going to guess this show's probably going to be bigger than whatever they're going to do for Survivor. Survivor Series is a little bit of a cheat code because it has the War Games. But I feel WWE is considering this September show probably the most important show, maybe even more important than John Cena's retirement match, which is going to be on Saturday night's main event, which will be our third topic that we'll talk about. But we could get Drew and Cody on that show. We could get whatever the big match will be for Rhea Ripley on that show. We could get, I guess, whatever the fallout of Roman Reigns and Bronson Reed. Like, I just feel like we're gonna get all the big dogs on this show because WWE just wants to throw everything, and they have an excuse by saying this is our first ESPN show that doesn't have anything to do with AEW, which they will never mention publicly. But it's twofold, right? You want to have a big show to kick off your ESPN relationship, and the reason the show exists is because you want to do whatever you can to kill all out competitively. So let's try and come up with some big AEW matches here. At least you watched the men's title match and the women's title match, so you kind of know what those results are. Mm-hmm. What would you do for those two titles on the next show? Because I have an idea for the women's title that I think would be big. I'm not quite sure I have the best match for the men's title, but I have something that could be intriguing.
Well, okay. Let's go with the women's first. If you're talking the biggest, and I would say, like, I wouldn't do this because I think it's too soon. In fact, I would wait on this match until next year's All In, honestly, if I could. I mean, the biggest match they could do is Mercedes and Tony, and make it for both belts.
How about all the belts?
You could do it for all the belts. Now, my other idea, and our topic kind of ties into that as well, of what we're going to do later. So yeah, you could make it for all the belts, but then, like, why would Mercedes put up like 9 belts against 1 like that? It doesn't really make a lot of sense for her,
because she wants the shot after losing. And
now you could
how badly does she want it? Well, she's going to put up all of her belts against Tony's belts.
You could do a triple threat and have Athena in there as well and put her belt on the line too. And then that way Mercedes has a chance to, get up to 11, I guess it would be. So yeah, I would do that. And then the other one, and I don't know if this is what you were getting at. I mean, and I don't know how big this would be, but I feel like Tony might think it would be bigger than it actually is. You could bring in Beth Phoenix in Toronto. That might get over really big because she's, Adam Copeland's wife, and people know that, and she was a big star in WWE. She's a Hall of Famer in their Hall of Fame. So you could do that if you don't want to do Mercedes Tony right away. And then of course the other one would be, I mean, and this could be big for a second, it could bring back Britt, but I don't think they're going to do that. So I don't know. And like, yeah, and then everybody else that's available out there, like, I don't really know, like, who's out there,
I'm a Britt fan, and I think maybe her lack of wrestling is a little overrated to me, but I know that the AEW fans definitely have an opinion on her wrestling skills. That'd be interesting. It would get the internet talking, that's for sure. I mean, if that's what you're after, right? Because that's what WWE, both companies are going to be after, the talk of the town. So bringing
you'd be doing it right after bringing back Wardlow and bringing back Kill Switch, who people kind of maybe had.
Jungle Boy, bring back the Jungle Boy.
Hey, there you go. And then for the men, I mean, I think Hangman and Mox is probably the biggest match you could do, and you could say that Hangman, even though he's already beat him in the rematch, you could say he wants revenge for Will. And then Hangman MJF is the other big one that you could do, but obviously it would have to be MJF cashing in his contract. Assuming we were talking about this before the show, I think he didn't cash it in, so I think he's still got that thing.
Yeah, so my men's title match is one of two things: either some sort of rematch, but it would have to be heavily stipulated, because you're gonna have MJF lose to this dude 3 times in a year. That's a flaw.
Mm-hmm.
You could add Mark Briscoe to the match. Like, for instance, MJF wants to utilize his contract, and Tony Khan comes out and says, hey, I kind of let you do this thing, but this is not what this contract is about. We have rules to this thing, which I guess he explained it at the post-show press conference last night.
What is that?
Something about, you have to lock it in a week before the show or something.
Oh, okay. I missed, because I saw something like that, and I thought what he was saying was you have to do it within a week of winning it, and I was like, well, that's stupid. But okay, what you're saying makes more sense.
And then Tony Khan goes, but I'll make you a deal. You get the match, but we're adding Mark Briscoe to the match. And then you have Mark Briscoe in there to take the pin so that MJF doesn't have to take yet another pin in the match. And, Mark Briscoe, if they really wanted to, because I think they've done a poor job of it, you talk about the people's champion. If you just build this guy up a little bit and have him get 3 or 4 wins on television before this main event, like, this guy's made in the shade. He is so popular and he's so good. He has so much, like the fan base just respects him so much. I think it would be in addition to the match, but I don't know. I have no idea what. But that's just kind of something that I would be interested in.
Fernando's idea. I mean, I think that is going to happen at the CMLL anniversary show.
You're talking about the Mystico match?
Yeah, but that, man, if they could do that match in AEW, that might bring in a completely different audience. That like the Mexican fans, Hispanic fans, and even people in Mexico, like, would be really interested in, and not just mask for it. You do it hair, do it mask versus title and hair, because Mystico mentioned his hair as well. That could be something that garners a whole kind of other media attention that we don't even think about.
Okay, what is AEW's Mexican pay-per-view business like, though?
I don't know.
It's probably very minimal, right?
Yeah, but it might be big for that.
But if you're worried about WWE eating up the oxygen for your weekend, I'm not sure leaning on CMLL is the answer.
Well, I'm not sure that there's anything they can do. I mean, like, to take away, like, Brock and Cena is the biggest match any company could put on right now. Or Brock and Cody, I should say. So I don't know, or Brock and Cena. Yeah, Brock and Cena. So, like, two of the biggest stars of the last 25 years, like, and be Cena's last, like, big time pay-per-view match, single pay-per-view match, probably. That's huge. And I don't know what can compete with that if you're talking about mainstream media. But if you want to reach hardcore wrestling fans and wrestling media, like something like that, I don't know, maybe. Like, I think you got to think outside the box a little bit.
I'm totally fine with MJF and Mystico. I don't think they've presented Mystico on AEW television as a big enough star, and I think that's got to be part of the deal. Yeah, you can try for the next 3 weeks, but who knows what Mystico's schedule is like? Because he's a crazy busy wrestler.
When is the anniversary show? I think it might be that same weekend. I'm just gonna look it up. September 19th,
the day before.
So yeah,
literally the day before.
And MJF is probably going to be wrestling on that match, so maybe he's out for the September 20th. One thing I thought of, and this wouldn't be for the title, but what if Tony brought in Goldberg to face Batista or to face Wardlow?
The real retirement match.
Goldberg and Wardlow.
I'd be down.
Yeah, like, I mean, that would get some attention. And and he can cut some promos on WWE, get all the AEW fans fired up, because that's what that would be. Like, it would be Goldberg just saying "F you, Triple H." You could do that.
What about the fact that when John Cena does his retirement match on Saturday night's main event, the fact that it's not going to be on broadcast TV and they could play it as long as they want, and so they don't have to cut him off like they cut off Goldberg. Goldberg's going to have an opinion on that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because he'll probably go, like, yeah.
Here's a match that I heard from some others that I thought was really interesting. What about the Young Bucks versus Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega?
Now that is a big match for a lot of people. Now, like, a lot of the people in this chat here are bringing up a lot of matches that are, like, really big for hardcore fans.
Really good matches, but not marquee.
Right.
We need to stand up for ourselves, or else WWE is going to eat our lunch matches.
But that one may be, because the Golden Lovers had a unique popularity, and especially if they can promote it correctly, again, they could appeal to a different type of fan that most of promotion doesn't appeal to. So yeah, that would be. And then combine that with some sort of a marquee name as well, like whatever you got,
Another one that has been suggested that I think is really good, though I think the finish would be kind of interesting, is Moxley and Darby.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is how strong do you want to keep John until Will comes back? Because that might be the whole hook of this entire thing, is John Moxley finding himself to be in the position of strength, even as a heel, because all of his big matches are the idea of the big match is to conquer the indestructible bad guy. And so I don't know if you do that match now, because Mox probably has to win. And I wanted to mention Jason Robar, who's the one who mentioned this in the chat. It's not something I really thought about until he said it, but I think he's probably right.
Yeah. I mean, now unless they're going to do what they did with Kenny and just forget about the angle when Will comes back. Because my thinking, like, I think what's going to happen when Will comes back is he's just going to enter the Owen and win it and go for the title. And maybe that means Mox has to be the champion if he really wants to get revenge.
Yeah.
I don't know about going back to Mox with the belt, but I suppose you could do that, but not what I would do.
By the way, I wanted to shout out Lady B, who's the one who actually sent us this question.
It's a great question.
Which I thought was fantastic. Here's another one, because I think this is the one that we already know is going to happen.
Yeah.
FTR against Copeland and Christian.
Yeah, that was my first thought, well, not even thinking about WWE, but I figured, the location and, that's a big match too for a lot of people.
What if, FTR is the one who somehow had a restraining order on Adam Copeland for a little while. What if they're just not into it? And they're like, the only way we're going to fight you guys is if we win, you guys retire so that you're completely out of our thing. If you put a retirement stipulation on that match, I think that might be bigger than just a normal match.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know if you would do that right away, but you certainly could. It's too bad they didn't have a little bit more time, because I think a TLC match with those two and the Bucks as well would be really big.
Yeah, Christian and Copeland do not want to do that again, you think?
No, but Adam Copeland looks so old on this show. Like
he is old.
He is, but I mean, he hasn't always looked as old as he looked. Like, he just wasn't moving great, and just, I don't know, man. Like, it's not just the gray. There's something else. I don't know how many matches he has left, but I know there's a few he wants to do. So that's gonna be a big match. It doesn't have to be a 5-star classic. It just really, it can be a greatest hits. FTR bump like crazy for those guys. And
when I asked this question in the Discord, it was kind of interesting, because I don't think anyone suggested the new tag team champions, Brodito.
Well, who would they wrestle though? That's the thing, right? The Bucks, I guess.
I mean, they're the tag team champions though, so you would think theoretically get a good tag team match.
I mean, they could end up just doing Brodito and FTR on TV, and then FTR wins the belts, and then they defend against Christian.
That would be so weird.
Well, that would be like, everyone would know exactly what was up. You know what I mean? Like, but I could see that. Although again, I wouldn't do it, because I don't think that FTR match against Edge and Copeland or Edge and Christian needs the belts. Like that, you don't need the belts for that one. So
Fernando suggested Daniel Bryan comes out of retirement, which they could do. I just don't want to see it, because I like that guy too much.
And against Hangman, like, why it would make more sense if he was wrestling Mox, based on what we just saw.
Yeah, even just putting him on the show, unless it was like a Zack Sabre Jr. Grappling match where he could, just not do any high stuff and just make sure any high spots, and just make sure you stay on the ground, like the Nigel match. Like, he could do the Nigel match.
If you're looking at guys on the show who are coming off of a win and don't already have a belt, I have no idea who the best challenger for Hangman is. Because, like, there's nobody.
The best challenger is Takeshita, but Takeshita himself is not strong on AEW television.
No, and he's already got an IWGP title match booked for October, And yeah, and you're right. Like, you know, and especially if you were talking about making this like their, maybe not their WrestleMania, but like their Royal Rumble or their SummerSlam or something. Like I wonder if, you know, and I don't know if you want to talk about the second subject now and kind of tie this into what we're talking about. But what if you started the C2 on this show? Like, I don't know if they've announced the
Like,
schedule for it, but
isn't that when did they start that last year?
it was like December. It was like after Full Gear.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Oh yeah, and you know what? No, they couldn't do that because they've already announced those London shows.
November 27th.
Yeah,
was the first week of, or the
and
first show.
they already announced that the December 13th and 17th shows in the UK are going to be C2 matches on those shows. Unless you did, again, like, you know, Jeremy's idea, and again, this was going to be our topic, if you started a women's one and you put it on that show.
That is topic number 2, and let's
Mhm.
get to that. I guess the only other thing I'll say, and we'll shut down this topic for AEW, is you know, I know people want Takeshita to just kind of slide in a top spot. The problem is if he does it as a heel, you know, he could do it against Hangman, and then, you know, he's got all the Don Callis family has like 35 people in it now. And like that's a thing because you have Callis as the mouthpiece. The problem with switching him babyface is that then he loses his mouthpiece. And then, so do you trust Takeshita's outside of the ring charisma? I trust his inside of the ring charisma, but do you trust his character outside of the wrestling ring as a babyface right now? I don't think they've done literally any development for him to be that top guy, especially on the babyface side. I think if Will Ospreay was around, he could sort of anoint him in a way, or maybe Kenny Omega could anoint him in a way. But I don't think Takeshita is ready just to start filling Will Ospreay's slot on AEW television.
Okay, one more thing on this before we move on. I wrote down my top 5 matches on this card.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Tony Khan and I'm trying to compete. Moxley and Hangman for the title. If Moxley doesn't win, he can never challenge for the AEW world title again. That's your stip. Never again. Ever. Like Cody
Rhodes.
Yeah. FTR against Edge and Copeland. No titles on the line. Mercedes, Tony, and Athena for all 3 belts.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to do all Mercedes belts because that's.
Or what if they did the WrestleMania 16 angle?
Oh yeah, like 2 out of 3 falls where you could do that.
Poor Kurt Angle loses both of his titles, and
Darby and Claudio in like a TLC type match, like just, you know, whatever you want to call it, lights out cage, death match, whatever. Darby and Claudio. Big win for Darby there. So, you know, you can set up the Mox match later. And Brodito defending the tag team titles against the Golden Lovers in Canada, where Kenny's from.
Yeah, Kenny's got to be a big deal on that show.
Yeah,
I think, too.
And I think that would be a big match. So yeah, those are my 5.
All right, I think we have some pretty good ideas, but I'm very interested to see what happens because I think Tony Khan knows how important this show is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you know, it's like they're coming onto your date and they're coming into your home, and you don't want them to just bulldoze you. You don't have to expect to win because they are the behemoth of all behemoths when it comes to marketing. He will probably almost certainly have the better wrestling show to the hardcore wrestling fan base, but I don't know if he'll have the better overall show to the complete wrestling zeitgeist, which is the most important thing for, I think, you know, that weekend is to just have what's the biggest show, what's the show that people deem most important. That's a challenge for them. So I'm very interested to see, like, whatever Tony's saving, man, this is when you pull out the big guns, my friend. We need, you know, we need Tony in his best, in his, like, I don't know if it's army fatigues. I don't know if he's going to wear eye black, throw the neck brace back on.
Do the DX going to war thing.
Throw the neck brace on. Give us whatever that version of Tony is. I hope to see it because I want him to pull out all the guns for this one. All right, so the next topic is, like Jeremy suggested, when do you do a female Continental Classic? And so I pulled up as many people on the AEW roster that I could think of. And let's go through some names. So the men's C2 last year had 12 wrestlers. So there were 2 brackets or 2 draws with 6 people in it each. So I wanted to see if we could figure out who those 12 would be.
Mhm.
So the 12 could be, where's my notes here? Okay. Obviously Mercedes and Tony. Those are easy. Athena, that would be another easy one.
Mhm.
Jamie Hayter, as long as she's healthy, I think that's another easy one. So that's 4. You would put Willow and you would put Chris. There
Mhm.
you get to 6. Then it starts to become a little dicier. I think they would probably want Megan Bain in there.
Mhm.
That would be 7.
Mhm.
Would you put Mina Shirakawa in there?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there's 8.
Okay.
Um,
Queen Aminata.
okay, so you have the Queen.
And Tekla.
You're risking though with the Queen. You are risking the injury factor here.
You are, but I mean, you're doing that with some
Okay,
of the guys.
so no,
The
so
guys on too.
I let's put the Queen. Let's put Tekla in there.
So now that's 10.
Okay.
Could you Billy
So
Starks?
so let me give you the list of the rest of the people, and we'll pick 2 out of these folks.
Okay.
Now I don't think it's going to happen, but you brought her name up before. Britt Baker, not going to happen. Not her
No.
strength either to do a bunch of matches. There's Thunder Rosa. There's Hikaru Shida, who we have no idea where she is.
I think visa issues. So
Okay,
yeah, it
that might
depends
be
if she's
hard.
available. Yeah.
Julia Hart,
Mhm.
Deanna Parazzo, Billy Starks, Anna J, Sky Blue, Harley Cameron. Red Velvet's hurt, correct?
Yeah, I don't know how seriously, but she is definitely hurt.
Serena Deeb is also hurt.
Is she?
I don't know. I'm just asking
Yeah,
because she hasn't been around.
No, I think she's been wrestling, like not in AEW, but I think I've seen her name on some indies and stuff. I think she
Okay.
wrestled on Rev Pro, I think.
Nyla Rose, I don't know what Nyla Rose is doing.
Nothing.
Someone
She's available.
asked us about Camille last night because of the idea that Wardlow came back. I was like, not so sure about that one. Penelope Ford, Alex Windsor, and Ty
Oh,
Mello.
okay, yeah. Alex Windsor for sure.
Okay, so
I
that
mean,
would be
she
11.
should have been in like the top ones. I'd even put her in there against over Queen. I would say Anna Jay for the other one. She did the Stardom Grand Prix last year. So
Okay, so that's 12.
yeah.
Would there be an outside person? Could you bring in someone from
Sure.
Stardom, bring in someone from CMLL, bring back Bozilla, baby?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bozilla seemed to get over. I don't know.
I don't know if
I don't
Bozilla can
know.
do 6 matches though. That might be tough.
Yeah, well, she just did the Stardom thing too.
How did she do in there?
I don't know. Well, she was in the semifinals because she got
Okay,
eliminated from the
ask,
semifinals, and that's Tony said that's how she was available.
we should ask Scott E. Wrestling.
Yeah, but no, like I don't know how good the matches are. I've seen her twice. This match that she did on the weekend and against Megan Bain on WrestleMania weekend, and I mean they were both fine. Like she's good. She's a power wrestler. I mean I don't think she's any better or worse than Nyla Rose, but she's new.
Yeah,
So
and she's young.
And she's really young.
Yeah,
21. Yeah, I mean you could bring in Riho. I don't know if she's still hurt.
Oh yeah, we could. I
Yeah.
didn't mention Riho.
Yeah, or people Siri. That would be huge if Tony could get her. And and there's other names, and I'm not up on the Stardom women as much as I should be, but I know there's a lot of great names over there that are all good wrestlers. So, whenever they show up, people get excited. Mayu Yamashita is one that has had some AEW exposure before, and she's really good as well.
Yeah, the problem with bringing in some folks from the outside is you're going to want an AEW woman to win it. So that kind of spoils the
Well,
the
it
thing.
doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, they could make it to the semifinals and stuff. Like, I mean, you got to remember, like there's always like a guaranteed win guy in each block on the men's one too. I mean, we had Jay Lethal in there one year, and Daniel Garcia that year he went 5-1 or whatever it was. And Brody King was in there to do all job for pay. Like I think Andrade was in there, and he was on his way out, and he won a bunch of matches. So they can do whatever they want. But I would also say, like, I'm not sure I would do it. Saying all that, like, I mean, obviously the time is right and everything, but I feel like if you do it too close to the men's, it's going to be compared to the men's, and it's probably not going to be as good. So you'd probably want it separate, like, so maybe in the summer, but then they already have the Owen. So I don't know when you would do it.
We got to run this thing, man. We cannot worry about the perception of these matches as not being up
So
to
just
snuff with the
do it at the
dudes.
same time then, and have like November, December be C2 season, and all the matches on TV are C2 matches.
Right. I would do something like that.
You can do that.
The
Yeah.
other thing that you could do is kind of like what you said, is if you wanted to start it early, you could kind of start one of the tournaments a couple weeks early, just to kind of get ahead
Yeah.
of things. But yeah, so I don't know if they're going to do it. I would love to see it, just because I think, we have this idea of how much women's wrestling means to television, and why there's only sometimes one women's match, and this would really force them to put
Yeah.
many women's matches on, and some matches in the main event segment, and some matches in the opening segment. And so you'd really be able to test and experiment with, and I think Tony would be up to the challenge of trying to book it to make it very, very interesting.
Mhm.
So I would do it. But the the thing is that then you're creating another women's singles title.
Yeah.
And so you
They've
only
already got
have,
like 5.
and so do you have now 3 women with titles? Do you have, not counting ROH, do you put 2 of the titles on one of the women? Like, that's something that they would have to think about.
They'll
But
do the thing where they say, okay, since Athena and Mercedes and Tony are in it, all 3 of their belts are on the line. So the winner is the Triple Crown champion, which won't be all 3 belts. It'll be a 4th belt.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So Lady B also mentioned, doing a women's blood and guts
Yep.
match, and you could do more cage matches, like the
Mhm.
women's all-star version of whatever this main event was, this death match for no reason.
You could add something like that on the September 20th show too. I know a lot of their fans really want to see something like that. I don't know if they could do a blood and guts, because I don't know if the building is set up for it, but if it's possible, I would definitely think about doing it. Tony's been asked about the women's C2 as well, and he basically, the excuse he gave was the same one about the tag team titles, like it's injuries,
But
so
we
if
just
it's
named 12 women
yeah,
that I
all
think would be
available.
pretty good.
Yeah. Now, yeah, and I mean, yeah, it holds up the belts, but that's fine. Because these are theoretically really big matches, and and your TV can revolve around them, and people. I think the C2 has a reputation now that it's appointment viewing for a segment of fans. So if you add women into that, hopefully by extension, they can have that as well.
All right, our last topic here. It is a question that John LaRocca and I were trying to solve on Fight Game Podcast last week, which is, who should be John Cena's last match?
Yeah, that's a tough
Do you
one.
do you Are you looking for, like, it's okay, so we know it's on Saturday night's main event, and we know it's on Peacock. So it's not on NBC in prime time. They're not going to necessarily be worried about drawing a crazy buy rate. I mean, a crazy rating, even though they wouldn't anyways, because it's just wrestling, and we know what the top level Saturday night's main event show does. Not fantastic. It does a little bit over SmackDown probably. So without the worry about that, do you go with best match possible for John? Do you go with most memorable rival for John? Do you go with a match that maybe folks didn't know if they would see again for John? How would you handle this scenario?
My first thought was Punk.
But which we
Um,
saw.
Yeah, I know. And then my second thought was Orton, which we already saw,
Which we
we
saw.
also saw. So it's like those were my two initial, like when you asked the questions and then you went over the names, and I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah. So I mean, the other obvious one that I really liked was Braun or Brockish or yeah, Braun Breaker.
Mhm.
Um, for the reasons, that you guys said, you putting over a young
If you
guy on
wanna
the
put
way.
over a young guy on the way
Yeah.
out, he's the guy. He's the guy that they have the rocket strapped to his back.
Now, the other thing you could do is you could have it be a tag team match and have him kind of put over someone by association. And the one I like is Trick.
Mhm.
Because they had some interaction in NXT, and he's a guy that theoretically 3 to 5 years from now is a WrestleMania main eventer. So you've got Cena giving him the rub on the way out, and maybe it's like Cena and Trick against Braun and Braun, Braun and Bronson or something like that. Or even against Melodome Miz, because you got the history there, because that's an easy match, and and it's
I
one,
can't believe you called them that, by the way.
it's their name. What am I else going to call them? It's a dumb name, but it's like
What a ridiculous name, and you just leaned into the ridiculousness.
I know I just threw it in there like it's part of the vernacular. They're awesome. So yeah, no. And they're getting a lot of wins too. So yeah, no, I mean you could do that, but I like however you do it. Like I like the idea of Cena and Trick. You could even do Cena and Trick as a one-on-one match. I mean, Trick is a heel. And he's the TNA champion right now. I don't know if you'd have it for the TNA title. But that would be a fun match. It would great atmosphere, and and Trick could just bump around for the guy. It'd be that would be fun too.
So I think I originally, when John and I were talking about this, we thought like, what's the match they haven't done yet, which would be the biggest, and it would be Roman, but they're both baby faces now, so I don't think that they'll do that. And Roman probably doesn't work in December these days. And so some with a little bit of history to them. Lady B talked about the one that would have been kind of perfect, Kevin Owens, but he's hurt. He's got the neck injury. AJ Styles is also one that would be kind of nice, but he is a baby face as well. Which leads me to wonder if it's just going to be Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins is the answer to everything when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah. Dirty Dom.
Dirty Dom. Hey. Do the Dirty Dom match in AAA show. John Cena in AAA.
Oh my God. You know what? Yeah, Roman is the biggest one for sure. And they haven't had a match, have they?
They've wrestled before, but I think it was on like some random pay-per-view. I don't think it was like a big match. May have been like
they had to have. Oh yeah, you know what? They had that big feud in 2017 where Cena ate him for lunch on the
on the mic.
Yeah. Oh, because Roman lost his spot and couldn't remember his line, and Cena just pounced on him. It was brutal. And he's like, come on, I'll wait for you. And the reason I keep coming back is because you can't do your job. Remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Yeah. It was but yeah, he's a heel, so you can't, or they're both babyface, I should say. So yeah.
Now here's the one I'm going to tell WWE. Please do not even think twice that this can actually happen. I do not want to see the Undertaker rolled out in anything having to do with this stuff. So please don't.
There's one I want to see less than that.
Okay, Triple H.
Solo.
The promos leading up to it would be funny though. I would get a kick out of the promo. Jacob is also a baby face, but that would be like kind of the ascent on one of them. Yeah. I just think it's not, now that we did this exercise, I just think it's now going to be Seth.
It might be. It might be. Or again, I think the other one is Braun. That makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons. And then if that was the case, Braun's going to beat him. And, and if it's Seth, obviously he's not going to win that match either. But yeah, you're going to do for the title, and then you're going to have the whole, 18 time never seen? Like, that's gonna be the thing. I laughed on SmackDown when they did that heel intro as a babyface intro. You know,
Which
like
one? I didn't even watch this week's
oh,
SmackDown yet.
so Cena made the ring like announcer do the same intro that he did when he was a heel, but the fans were chanting along with it and cheered it. You know,
What did he do on this SmackDown?
he did a promo with
Okay.
Logan Paul. Oh, you know what? He had a really good promo on Logan Paul, actually. It was he basically just said, "Yeah, you got all the talent in the world, but you're a piece of crap." And you know, and yeah, it was good. Like it was actually a really good segment, I thought. Best thing on the show. There was nothing else worth watching on the show, really.
All right, let's I want to get your thoughts. Since you watched most of Forbidden Door, we'll save the end of this to just
Yeah,
get your thoughts
I
on the
like
show.
literally like everything but the meat of the main event. But you know, I did see the main event angle. But
So I'm going to guess that you're going to like the main event. I would suggest that you're going to.
yeah,
Like
I could kind of like I
it
skipped
was
through it to get to the
very
end.
very
Yeah,
well done. The way that it was
yeah.
shot, great camera work, big
The
moments. But
cage was the right size, you know, for a match like that too, from what I saw. So
and I mean, I don't get to do this drop on my show with John anymore because he no sells everything. But I mean, it was the ultimate party match, so I think a lot of people were happy with it. If you can sort of take yourself out of a lot of those high spots and stuff, you kind of get numb to them, and so, like, everything that happens after the biggest thing, like, kind of means nothing, and so that's kind of what happened at the end of that match, but, it was well done.
I thought that like
Cheers to that.
if I'm gonna just go by default and say the main event was as good as you think I'm gonna think it is, and I have no reason to doubt that. I thought the other two top matches were both really good as well. The rest of the card, I didn't think was up to AEW pay-per-view standards,
You know
which
what's funny?
granted is a very high standard.
I really liked Kyle Fletcher and
Yeah,
Hiromu,
I like
knowing
that.
that Hiromu had no chance at winning
Yeah.
that match, and I really liked Zack Sabre Jr. and Nigel, knowing that Nigel had no chance to win the match.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought those were the next two best matches. So yeah, I'd agree with that.
the Edge
But
and
then
Christian match was the one of the worst openers in AEW history, probably,
the
but
the, the
the
tag team
m
title match was actually pretty good until whatever happened at the end. Like the end took it down a lot for me.
but you know what about the Edge and Christian thing? By the end of it, I was like, "Yeah, I like those guys. I just wanna see
Okay.
them together." Like, that's my
Yeah.
feeling about this whole thing is
Yeah.
none of this makes sense. It's all really dumb. I thought the psychology in that match was really bad, by the way, because Luchasaurus is like the
I don't
baby
know what
face.
was going on there. Like he was holding Kip up so he could get the Doomsday device from Edge. Like what the hell was that?
I think the story is supposed to be that like Killswitch like hates Christian more than anything, and so. But yeah, it didn't. The announcers didn't know either, so it made it
No.
even worse when they couldn't explain it.
Danielson calls everything like a shoot too. So like he's like he's great, but like sometimes he's as confused as we are and doesn't doesn't mind saying it. I love Danielson on the show, by the way.
Yeah,
He
he's
was
great.
great. And
He's
that Will
fantastic.
Ospreay video package. Oh,
The
that
best
was
thing on the show.
no, Kenny jamming to Mbop was the best thing on the show.
Okay, the fact that Tony got the rights to Umbop was amazing.
Yeah.
Tying it to the Young Bucks and this stupid EVP thing, I know why
That
they got that
almost
song.
makes it worthwhile. Like that, and I hate this Young Buck stuff, but that almost was like, okay, if this is the payoff,
You
because
know what?
I assume that was their theme music.
Yeah, I think on the Indies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The Kenny thing was a little bit of a callback to Let the Bodies Hit the Floor, where now
Yep.
he's just this guy when the music changes, or he's the music guy now, or whatever. But look, Kenny's the wackiest out of everybody, but he's
Yep.
also a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah.
What did you think of the women's title match?
Which one?
Sorry, not the
The main
four-way.
one? The main one?
The Tony Storm match.
No, I thought it was great. Like, yeah, like I not as like it's up there with the best ones that they've had all year. Not quite at the top, but real close. Athena has a formula that she does on her ROH matches, and this was kind of that same formula, but Tony's a better wrestler than most of the people she's wrestled, so it was better than most of the ROH matches she's had, but not quite as good as some of the AEW ones that Tony's had, if that makes
Mhm.
sense. Yeah, but excellent match. Like third best on the show, I would probably say, but behind the top two. So the show was put together really well, I would say. So like someone in the chat said it was the second best pay-per-view of the year. Like I would disagree with that. Not that it wasn't a good show, just that they're all great. But it was put together in a way that by the end of it, if you really liked the top three matches as much as I did, you would come away thinking that, because you forget about the beginning.
I had a lot of fun, but it's the same thing that I say for every AEW show. I almost, and hate is a strong word, I just dislike a lot of the creative to get to the match, because it is very much in that niche pro wrestling style that the hardcore fans really enjoy, that Tony Khan really enjoys, that I don't really enjoy. But knowing after the fact, I'm going to enjoy the show because the matches are good. And I'm just going to be like, oh, yeah, well, who cares about the storylines to get to the matches if you like the matches?
One of the things that hit me though about why I had a hard time getting into this show for a while was, and it dawned on me, because I watched the pre-show too, and until we got to, I think it was the Athena Tony match, every match that I'd seen, and I think we were up to 10 at that point, had people in the match that aren't on AEW television leading up to the show for whatever reason. Like we're not just talking about New Japan people, but like you in some cases you had people returning from injury. You had, so it was like it's harder to get into it. Like Nigel and Zach, for instance, like they're not, Nigel is not a regular wrestler. Zach isn't on AEW television. So yeah, it's a different kind of match. But I've just watched Zack Sabre Jr. have 9 matches in the last month, and probably 7 of them were better than this one. So for you, it was new and a different style and everything. It was great. But for me, it was like, okay, it was another Zack Sabre Jr. match. You know what I mean? So maybe I'm spoiled by just having watched the G1. I liked the match. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was a good match, a very good match. But it's I've seen Zach wrestle a lot lately.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess at the end of the day, what we believed to be kind of like, it's a pay-per-view that sort of exists because of a previous reason that is no longer the reason why it exists today. And it is, I'm sure for Tony, it's kind of like, oh gosh, this thing is just kind of in the way where I want to get, we have this partnership. But now, again, just to go back to the first topic on this show, this is flex time, man. I hope you remember when he was in TNA and he was like wearing the short polos and he's like flexing his muscles a little bit. This is time. Bring back the neck brace. That's what I want to see. This shows me that you're ready for war, man. I want to see the ready for war Tony Khan. I want to see what he believes is his best stuff to compete with WWE trying to invade.
Yeah, and it's tough because some of the key people that he would use aren't available, unfortunately.
Yeah, Will and Strickland are not going to be on this show, more than likely, I'm guessing.
Gosh, if they brought Will back.
Well, I believe that he's really hurt.
Oh, he's definitely hurt.
But Jeremy and I, or more so me, I theorized yesterday that based off of what we see in pro wrestling right now, with Karrion Kross trying to work shoot stuff, with them trying to work shoot the Ron Killings thing, like the Seth Rollins thing of all, even though everybody and their mom knew that he wasn't really hurt, like there's that style of kind of trying to work the internet in wrestling today. And so if Will saw the doctor and he's like, maybe you don't actually need surgery right now, like maybe he does come back sooner than later and pushes it off. But I just that's the part where I'm like, I will believe that Will is having surgery when he has surgery. And for me, I hope that he doesn't have to have it. I actually hope he's faking, but I don't think he's faking. But it's just
Cody thinks it's a work.
Does he?
No, I'm just I listened to that podcast he did with Phil Simmons.
You're about to throw Cody under the bus right
now. Everything's a work with Cody.
Yeah, totally. But anyways, like I'm sure Will is really hurt. It's gonna suck for him to be out for whatever. And the other thing about it is, can he wrestle? He can't wrestle the same coming back.
He shouldn't, but I mean, he can wrestle well and he can just be different, like Danielson.
Yeah, but still, then Danielson keeps getting hurt, even wrestling differently.
Yeah, well, because he forgets that he's injured, and like
Stone
you know
Cold
what I
Steve
mean?
Stone Cold Steve Austin comes back as a brawler and
Yep.
still gets hurt as a
Yep.
brawler because he's still taking German suplexes on the back of his head. So these guys, like, they can't. It's almost like you can't protect them from themselves because they're just so dialed in for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, I think we're good. We did a hard 50 minutes here.
Yeah.
So we'll be back next week on Takedown. But you have the Dynamite show, and I'm guessing that Jeff is going to be happy that you watched Forbidden Door.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about it, and I'll give some more thoughts on the show, and I'll watch the party match as soon as we're done, and I'll save those thoughts for Wednesday. Although you can go in the Discord if you want to get my thoughts, my running thoughts.
Yeah.
I like this show more than my comments probably come off like I sounded like I did. Like, it is a good show. So.
And then for me, I'm actually not doing Friday with Dave this week because Dave is out of town. So I'm actually going to have like a free Friday, which
Nice.
I'm almost like, man, what am I going to do? My whole process is wake up, read the Observer, do some work, read the Observer, do some
Touch
work,
grass.
read
Touch
the
grass,
Observer.
Garrett. Touch grass,
Yeah.
Garrett.
Yeah, I might have to like go to the movies or something on Friday.
It's a holiday weekend too, right?
Yes, no work on Monday. So yeah. Actually now I'm excited. I'm excited to have Friday off. All right. Maria also said HBK had to change his wrestling style when he came back. He was much smarter, but he was still pretty athletic.
In some ways, like, his matches were better, like similar to Tanahashi the last couple of years. Like when you watch him in New Japan, like his matches are really good. The problem when he comes into AEW is that he's getting off a plane and jumping into a wrestling ring. Like that's not easy for guys that aren't, that don't have 80-year-old knees. But so you just work a smarter style and more psychology and less athleticism, and that's what Will's going to do.
All right. Thank you to everyone for checking in on us. I really appreciate you who were in the live chat, and appreciate Lady B and Jeremy for their topics that we decided to use for this show. All right. For Paul, I am Double G. We will see you when we see you. Peace out.